The transformation of Japan's Izumo-class warships from so-called helicopter destroyers into full-fledged aircraft carriers marks a turning point in Asia's maritime balance. For the first time since World War II, Japan possesses the capability to project air power at sea. This is not merely a symbolic step for Tokyo. It is a development that resonates across the entire Indo-Pacific. And for the Philippines, located on the front lines of the South China Sea disputes, the implications are both immediate and strategic. At the outset, it is worth noting that our community's support is what keeps in-depth military analysis alive. If you find value in this perspective, consider subscribing, sharing, and supporting so we can continue bringing timely insights into the fast-changing defense landscape of our region. The Izumo-class began as two helicopter destroyers, JS Izumo and JS Kaga, displacing around 27,000 tons. Designed with a long, flat deck, they were originally justified as anti-submarine warfare platforms and humanitarian assistance vessels. Yet from the start, naval observers knew their potential as small carriers was latent. The decision by Tokyo to retrofit them for F-35B short takeoff and vertical landing operations confirmed this trajectory. Reinforced decks, new aviation systems, and upgraded command and control now allow them to deploy fifth-generation aircraft at sea. In practical terms, the Izumo-class now stands alongside other light carriers in the world, from Italy's Cavour to the UK's Queen Elizabeth-class, in its operational philosophy. This shift reflects Japan's strategic transformation. For decades, Japan's maritime self-defense policy was anchored in anti-access strategies close to home waters. The Izumo-class signals a new willingness to project power beyond Japan's immediate periphery. The logic is clear. Japan imports roughly 90% of its energy through the sea lanes of the South China Sea. Any disruption there, particularly in a scenario where China asserts full dominance, would be an existential threat to Tokyo's survival. Thus, the Izumo-class is not just about prestige. It is a strategic instrument to guarantee freedom of navigation and safeguard vital trade arteries. For the Philippines, this development is more than an abstract shift in naval doctrine. The ability of Japan to bring F-35Bs into the South China Sea alters the regional balance in ways directly favorable to Manila. The Philippine Air Force, despite recent modernization efforts, remains modest. Its FA-50 light fighters are valuable but limited. In the event of a crisis over disputed features in the West Philippine Sea, Japanese carriers operating F-35Bs could provide a level of air cover and deterrence that Manila simply cannot generate on its own today. Moreover, the synergy between Japanese carrier power and American presence under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement creates a layered defense posture. Bases in the Philippines can host U.S. aircraft, while Japanese carriers maneuver at sea to extend the operational envelope. For the Philippines, this combination strengthens deterrence by complicating China's calculations. Beijing must now account for not only U.S. forces, but also Japanese carriers capable of rapid deployment. At the political level, Izumo-class deployments in regional waters also serve as a symbol of Japan's commitment to its partners. Tokyo has steadily deepened defense ties with Manila, donating patrol vessels, transferring advanced air surveillance radar, and conducting joint exercises. The pending reciprocal access agreement between the two nations may allow Japanese self-defense forces to operate more freely in the Philippines, much like U.S. troops. In this context, the Izumo-class is not just a ship. It is a floating message of solidarity, a reassurance that Japan views the defense of Philippine waters as part of its own strategic defense line. Yet there are limits and risks that Manila must weigh carefully. Despite its upgrades, the Izumo-class remains constrained by Japan's pacifist constitution. Tokyo cannot easily act unilaterally in a Philippine crisis. Any combat operation would require both domestic political consensus and close coordination with Washington. Furthermore, over-reliance on Allied carriers could breed complacency in Manila's own modernization drive. The Philippines cannot simply outsource its maritime defense to partners. The presence of Izumo should be seen as a catalyst, not a substitute, for Manila to accelerate its own programs, from acquiring BrahMos missiles to expanding air defense systems. Another risk lies in escalation dynamics. The sight of Japanese carriers operating near the West Philippine Sea could heighten tensions with Beijing, which remains highly sensitive to any Japanese military activity in contested waters. For Manila, this creates a delicate balancing act. Welcoming Japan's support strengthens deterrence, but it must be managed to avoid painting the Philippines as a staging ground for external powers in a way that provokes disproportionate retaliation. Nevertheless, the broader strategic trend is unmistakable. The Izumo-class represents Japan's return to the role of a maritime great power in Asia. For the Philippines, this is both reassurance and opportunity. It is reassurance because Manila gains another powerful ally capable of projecting credible force. It is opportunity because closer integration with Japan offers pathways for technology transfers, training, and eventual upgrades in Philippine capabilities. Ultimately, the Izumo-class is not just about Japan's navy. It is about the evolving architecture of deterrence in the Indo-Pacific. For the Philippines, the arrival of Japanese carriers should serve as both shield and mirror, a shield in the sense of enhanced Allied presence, and a mirror reflecting Manila's own urgent need to modernize. If leveraged wisely, the Philippines can position itself as a vital hub in a triangular security network with Japan and the United States. If not, it risks being a passive bystander in a strategic contest fought in its own waters. As Japan's Izumo sails into the South China Sea, the Philippines must recognize that this is more than just another warship. It is a floating signal of changing times, a reminder that alliances are strengthening, and a call for Manila to rise to the challenge of defending its sovereignty. And as always, I invite you, our community of defense watchers, to stay engaged, subscribe, follow, and support this channel so that we can continue delivering critical insights into how Japan's choices, America's strategy, and the Philippines' future are intertwined in the most contested waters on Earth.